So hello everybody and welcome back to our HR and Leadership Coffee Talk. So glad that we're doing this again and working on some of the current issues in our HR and leadership world. So again, I'm going to introduce myself, Daya Naif. I am a professional coach and a conflict resolution specialist, and I've been general counsel before and practiced law for 16 years. Edgar, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Edgar Jatsi. I'm an HR consultant and nonprofit professional. I've also have a legal background and practiced law for about 9 years, mainly in employment law.
Great. So today we're going to talk about people who have employees or will be having employees, some managers who are concerned with about going back to the office. I know we've all been working, so it's not back to work, but definitely back to the office, and looking specifically at retailers and professional service providers. So without further ado, safe office. So Edgar, as we're coming back to the office, what are some of my best practices?
Sure. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be up on what the CDC has put out in terms of guidelines in terms of safe workplaces. They have been doing some work in that recently. Also, you want to look at some of the guidelines that have been put out by the federal government agency, OSHA, or the Occupational Safety Health Administration. They've recently put out some guidelines on face coverings and masks and what companies should be doing in terms of maintaining a safe workplace, and particularly when you find out that an employee of yours has contracted COVID-19. Additionally, you want to make sure that you're up on your local and state law, if they have any, regarding returning back to work safely. You know, some places have mandates in terms of requiring face covering for certain industries, or how many people you can have in an establishment at any one time. So it's really important that you understand what those mandates are. And some states have gone further. For example, Virginia recently passed and mandated safety requirements for all workplaces, and the first state in the country to do so. So it's very important that you understand what is at play here, and also remember that even if you're in a place where there's not a lot of mandates, there's still an overarching duty to provide a safe workplace to your employees. And so just be aware of that. If you're not doing so, your employees can go to OSHA to file a complaint, or the state level equivalent, and you can be held accountable.
Great. I know a lot of our people are asking questions. They're from all over the country now, which is great. I love that. So what would I Google to find in my home state, my home county, to find out what's required and what's the best practices?
I mean, you can probably Google, safe return to work. That's what a lot of states have been calling some of these policies. And so that's a place you want to start. If your local government or state has a COVID-19 resource page, that might be another place that you may want to go to if you haven't done so already, because that will have a lot of information for businesses regarding reopening. So those are some of the things you might want to look up, or even maybe Reopen, like for example, Reopen DC is a website that you can Google, and I'm sure you can do the same for many other states in the country.
Great. All right. And in a couple of talks we've already done, we've talked about having difficult conversations. So as an employer, how would I talk to an employee who has a health issue and wants to stay remote and not come back to the office?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something that leaders are going to have to get more used to, as we are seeing that we're going to be dealing with COVID-19 for quite some time. And I would say that you always have a obligation to maintain the privacy of your employees' medical conditions or requests for accommodations. That information should not be shared, and if you do have documentation, that documentation should be kept in a separate file from that employee's personnel file. Ideally, you should have a file for personal records for an employee and a file for any medical records or requests. So that's very important as a baseline. And essentially, when an employee has this concern, what that should trigger in your mind is that they might be requesting an ADA accommodation, or what we call an Americans with Disabilities Act accommodation request. And so as the employer, you're obligated to get the request in writing, understand what the concerns are, and more importantly, if there's an underlying medical condition that the employee is concerned about. And then it's your duty to see if you can accommodate the request. And that is, now, you're not ultimately obligated to provide an accommodation. You cannot, and the law will protect you if you can show that either it'll be disruptive to your operations, or you couldn't make a business case for it. But you are obligated to thoroughly see if it's possible and have a conversation with the employee to see if you can work something out. So right now, common requests are remote work, but you can do other things where, particularly if that is not an option, where you can reassign someone to a different position where they're not maybe interfacing with the public and fearing that they'll be exposed to COVID-19 more regularly. You can, maybe, consider putting someone in part-time hours, or redoing their shifts so that, again, they're limiting exposure. So there are many creative things you can do if you give yourself the time to really think it through, be creative, talk to employees, seek help and resources to come up with the best solutions for you and the employee.
That's great. Again, it's like keeping that open communication and the theme of empathy that has been running throughout 2020. That's great. So as most of you know, I work with a lot of professional services providers, lawyers, CPAs, and they've been really worried about not having the personal interaction, because these are very personal professions. So some things that we've been talking about is increasing value to clients at this time. And so what you really want to do is be an added value. You want to stay connected with your clients. Really let them know what's going on, and then mainly like listen to them. Like, what do they want to hear about? So it's not uncommon now for people to call their clients, past and current clients, more than once a week, just to check on them, see if anyone is in their family is affected by COVID directly, just offering empathy and support, finding out what they're planning on doing with their kids, just kind of seeing that. And then that way they could be, you can be a resource for directly what they need, not just what you think you need, and just not blasting out information over emails and things like this, an actual personal connection. And then as far as coming back into the office, yes, I mean, this is something that's happening. Some jurisdictions are pretty well open, some are not. But if people do want to come to the office and your area allows that, just consider having the smallest amount of staff that's absolutely necessary for them to run your office properly. And then consider some alternative meeting space. So if it's just going to be you and your clients, you can use the waiting room to where you can sit comfortably apart. Or you can just have one or two clients in the office sitting apart at the conference table. So you do have that physical connectivity, but you're not close enough to each other, and you can wear masks so to everybody's comfort level and concern for safety. So also, people have been really concerned about the effect of doing actual consultations and negotiations. This is something that I can't express enough, to be very competent with technology if you're using it. So we all know how to use Zoom, or most all of us know how to use Zoom now, but really practice this with your colleagues, practice it with your friends and family, learn how to do breakout rooms. You don't want parties that should not be in the same room in the same room. And this is just going to be something that's going to take practice and additional levels and layers of connectivity. having having a phone number ready. So if someone kicks off, they can call you immediately so that they're not lost in cyberspace. That could be very scary during a negotiation or a consultation. So Edgar, I'm gonna get back to you on this one. So what are we seeing with our small retail shops?
Yeah, well, I would say that a lot of these small retail shops have been very resilient during this time and have been doing a lot of things to not only stay in business, but also keep the employees safe. And a lot of them should be commended for a lot of the creativity they come up with. And a lot of the things I've seen or heard of or advised are doing appointments only, in terms of having certain clients come in, particularly if it's a type of retail business that's a little more upscale, and really care, and they really care about the customer experience. I know with some salons now, you have the option of renting out the whole salon to yourself, because now safety is considered a luxury, and so that's what some salons are doing. At the height of COVID-19, when a lot of these businesses were not able to have any customers in their stores, they would do a lot of online shopping. So they would do virtual showings of their products. Will use Instagram heavily to showcase their products and services, and we'll do home deliveries for people if people are interested in purchasing something. And so it's been phenomenal to see people being able to think out of the box, be creative, with an eye on not only staying afloat, but also ensuring that they keep the employees safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how are people going about letting people know that they're open, they're accepting customers, even if it's on this appointment basis?
Yeah, I think making sure that you monitor your online presence. Like for example, a lot of restaurants have the option on Google My Business to indicate what kind of services they're offering. So you'll see that you can do takeout, dine out, or delivery, and they'll let you know which ones they're offering or what they're not offering. I've seen a lot of particularly boutique retailers really master social media with Instagram stories and using Instagram to or Twitter or Facebook to show that they're open and that they're consistently trying to sell products. And I think overall just tapping into your resources, whether it's your local business associations like the Main Street programs in DC, which have been highlighting a lot of businesses that have been staying open, particularly small retailers. So I think that the big theme here is not being on an island, and really tapping into the community, because I think everyone is looking to support people right now, any way they can, whether it's tip pools for restaurant workers, making a commitment to support a local restaurant each week by dining out locally, or saying I'm supporting my local retailer and I'm going to purchase something from this retailer to show my support.
That's great. So, we all know word of mouth is one of the best ways to do that. And you and I are both very avid networkers. Do you have any organizations that you're actively networking in that would like to be a guest, like to have a guest come that would be a small shop or a restaurant?
Yeah, so I'm a member and currently the president of a local BNI chapter. BNI stands for Business Network International, and our chapter meets every week, Thursdays from 7:30 to 9, and we have a formal networking program we follow. So we meet virtually through Zoom, and we always encourage business owners, particularly retailers, to join us because we have a lot of professionals that could either send you referrals to your business or provide different levels or types of professional services that help your business needs. And I certainly would encourage you to join us. We're a great bunch. And actually during COVID-19, we've actually grown. We just added 2 new members this morning, and we're now at 20 members. And so again, it's a testament to our resiliency during this time, in that we didn't just say, let's wait things out. We were very aggressive in continuing to attract visitors and to encourage people to join us.
So that is Business Networking International, and it is an international organization. So if you just want to find people in your local area, again, a lot of people are now tuning into our coffee talk from all over, which is so exciting. You can just put in BNI and your address, and they're all on Zoom right now.
Yep.
So you're able to get into your own local market without having to actually go out and meet people. So I've also been attending a lot of meetups. There are also a lot of events on Eventbrite, and there you can actually like showcase your business, your professional service, your retail shop, your restaurant, and let people know literally from your mouth and your expressions that how we're going to open, how we're doing these things, if we're limited seating or limited hours, or how to make an appointment. And I love the private party idea. This was something that was very luxurious and very exclusive back before COVID-19. And it was something, you know, as a networker myself, I would love to host some of these little private parties and have them in boutiques for, let's say, a ladies sip and shop networking event. And that was always so much fun. So a lot of places are having like a 10-person limit. So you'd have to account for yourself as the proprietor, and then you would have your host or hostess, and then their guests would be 8 people. Again, that's going to vary very much through localities, but it's a great way to combine networking and letting people know that you're open, because those 8-9 people are now going to go back out into their communities and say, you know, I just had this great event over at, let's say, Edgar's Boutique, and they are open for private events and open on such and such hours. You have to go. Yeah. So, and I know people are ready to get out and do that, and then also shopping online. I mean, also still shopping online at the small shops once they know about them. So great. So we're gonna wrap up here for this coffee talk. Edgar, what are your parting thoughts?
So my parting thoughts are that right now there's some uncertainty in terms of how this reopening is going in certain parts of the country. So I think more so than ever, it's really important for leaders of organizations and business owners to be really on top of any new guidelines or legislation that will be coming down in the next couple of weeks. So just really monitor the news and monitor your resources to just know what to expect. And that's on all fronts. You know, a lot of people are also parents, and so there's a lot of discussion now about school reopenings and what's happening with childcare. And so right now is a very important time, as we're still facing some uncertainty, to really be on top of the latest developments in laws and current events.
Mm-hmm. Great. And as always, we are addressing your questions. So, and Edgar and I are also available to talk to you. You are a valued guest and member. Well, we don't really have a membership, but a valued guest of our HR Coffee Talk every time we put it out. So please send us questions. Please use our booking links. Edgar and I are both ready to talk to you. And, you know, stay safe out there, and we will see you again very soon.
Thank you, Daya, and take care, everybody.